Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes?
Um, I wonder if you always tell about how Rudy said just buy the building. How did you do that?
How did I do that?
How did you buy the building? You just did it in 2 days. How did you do that?
Who's, are you planning on buying a building? Who's asking the
No, when
question?
Rudy told you just buy the building, and you always tell the story, but then I wanted to know
All right, let
how.
me tell you how I bought the building. You're not going to believe it, but this is the God's honest truth. Uh, I sat down every evening in meditation class, and I opened to a higher force in the universe. And I asked them for the wisdom, the strength to do this project without robbing a bank. And I did this every single day. And suddenly the wisdom came, and I began to see ways of raising the money and ways I never dreamed of, I never thought of, borrowing money from people and, of course, paying them back. And it was amazing. But the whole universe opened up and began to give me intuition, things I never thought about, I never dreamed about, I had no knowledge of. And honestly, a month later, I bought the building. That's how it worked. I mean, I didn't go to, my parents, I didn't go to some relatives and say, let me borrow. It came, the money came. And I got intuition. I got, ways of doing that I never dreamed of. And then all of those ways served me the rest of my life. It was one of the most incredible lessons I ever learned about being in business. But it came from a higher force. It came because I was open inside and I was able to receive that kind of wisdom. And Rudy was smart enough to know that doing this project would change my life. And it did. Eventually, it made it possible for me to move back to New York City. But he knew that. And he knew that I had to do that. I had to get over my fear of success, and the only way I knew how to do it is I went deep inside myself, open, and this wisdom came. This wisdom about financial things and money without being trapped by them came. And a month later, I bought the building. I mean, it's not, I didn't go to borrow the money from, stockbrokers and this and that and banks, and the money just came. And this kind of intuition has worked for me all my life, all my life. And, I used it when I got into the antique business, the Oriental art business. Same thing. I put myself in debt for it. Today would be almost $2 million when I did that. And that energy, that wisdom, it taught me how to function, how to use all that in order to build a successful life for myself. And over again, I have learned that there is no greater, teacher than the wisdom you can get from higher energy in the universe. It will teach you how to function in every single area of your life, in your relationships, and your financial things, and I all my life used that. And for God's sake, it worked. I mean, yesterday an apartment came. I mean, it was like a blessing, a miracle. And we were approved, and now we have to go see it. But the pictures were extraordinary. Two of them came. Pictures were extraordinary. So now it's a matter of seeing it and doing it and being how to use that kind of wisdom that comes when you do deep inner work and you have a connection with energy and how to use it as a practical energy in your life. Not to ever think that it's coming to you. Not to ever believe that you are doing it. It's this energy that does it, everything, creates everything. So if you want it, that's the answer. I don't, that's how it worked. And it's worked for me over and over and over again. And I firmly believe in my heart there are no accidents in life. People just have to be smart enough to recognize this intuitive sense that exists inside them, and be able to take a chance with life. And to be grateful that these gifts are given. I mean, I had a very hard time last Friday. I really did. It was one of the most difficult days I've spent in 10 years last Friday. And today in the class, they said, here's your gift for what you went through last Friday. And I've been doing this for years, and I have absolutely no idea how it works. Don't ever ask me how this works. I just know that if you do build a chakra system inside, you connect with this higher force in the universe, things just change profoundly in your life. I mean, the same thing happened with the loft I had in New York. I had this wonderful place, and I had to move because I was having trouble with the landlord, and it became a nightmare. I mean, and I had to move, and it spent 3 months looking. And one day I walked into my gallery, and my assistant, Cisa, was there. She said, "Did you see that ad in the Village Voice?" I said, "What ad?" So she shows me a little ad about a loft that was literally a 5-minute walk away from where I was living and where I was running my gallery. So I called him up. I made an appointment. I went over there. I stepped out of the door of the elevator and I said, "I'll take it." I saw it. It was God's gift. It was amazing. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I said, "I'll take it." "You take it?" "Yeah, I'll take it." "Where do I sign?" It was God's gift. And I lived there for 11 years. Big mistake I made was not buying the place. I should have bought the place, but okay, what to do? Karma had other other things for me to be involved in. I bought a house in Woodstock, which was, man, what a dream place it was. Extraordinary place. But anyway, what I'm saying is we are given these gifts. We are given these gifts, and you can't spend your time overlooking them. You have to have gratitude, and you have to understand how to transform these gifts into practical living, and to never think that you're doing it, to never think you're the one who's making this happen. Forget it. These are gifts, and you have built the system inside that allows these gifts to become manifest in your life. And so I have all these classes so people can build that kind of system inside to recognize how extraordinary the universe is and what it gives to us All we need to do is have the system to let it flow through and become reality, become something practical that we're living with. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Good question. I don't know
Stuart,
if you asked it, but a good question.
I'm glad the question was asked. Stuart, where's the new apartment? Is it in Connecticut still?
I'm not gonna, no, 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 no. I'm not gonna divulge yet because I don't have it
Oh,
yet. I
okay.
was approved to get it and I mean, a very nice place. It looks like a really nice place. I have to go see it. Jennifer and I have to go see it. But we were approved by whoever that approved you, they
The
approved.
approvers.
We've been
Excellent.
approved. Anyway, I know the neighborhood and it's a fantastic neighborhood. It's just a great place to be. So we'll see what happens, I have to
Awesome.
go see it. You can't, sign a lease until you see what you're getting involved in, but it looks so good in the pictures.
Well, you know when you step off the elevator.
Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart, I love the way that you talked about that, your experience about the working deeply every day for that deep knowing to run through you, to know which way, and to just let that force take over. Just really inspiring. I just
Well,
felt
thank
like I
you,
needed to
Heidi. I
say that.
really appreciate it. It's how I've been living my life for
Thank you.
literally the last 60 years. Even before I met Rudy, I lived this way.
Mhm.
I never knew what was going to happen next. I traveled all over the world that way, and I just went. But I always trusted a higher energy. Rudy taught me how to do what I spoke about, how to build a system inside that allowed that thing to flow through and become practical in my life. And never think for a moment I am doing it. He once told me, never think for a moment that you are teaching a class. Never for a moment. Just be grateful you're there and you can be a vehicle for higher energy. You have worked hard enough on yourself to build that kind of a system inside.
Yeah, I can feel that. It's just like really strong. It's beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome, Heidi, and use it. I'm trying to pass this on to all of you. I really
Thank
am.
you. Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart.
Yes?
So, so you're saying that this practice um, so enables us to clear out all the stuff inside and burn up the karma to create a space and an inner space to receive that light, that energy.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. Larry, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's your responsibility to do that. In fact, I think every human being is born on the earth to learn how to do exactly that. When you do that, you transform the conflict, the suffering, the pain inside yourself into joy, into love, to an open heart. There's space for these miracles to come and flow through you and then manifest in your life. That's the responsibility of every human being to do that. And frankly, nobody can do this on their own. It's not possible. This is, I mean, even before I met Rudy, I knew I couldn't do what I'm talking about today I needed somebody to guide me. I needed a teacher. I needed somebody who could help me build that kind of, I mean, look, if you're, on baseball teams, they need coaches, they need managers, they need people to train them. And this is no different. And what we do here is much more complicated than learning to be a great baseball player. You're dealing with yourself. The single most difficult person you have to deal with on the earth is yourself. You need somebody to help you. And I'm not promoting myself as a teacher. It could be anyone, I don't know who, but somebody who has been over the path and is willing to guide you and help you build that kind of system inside yourself. And then it comes. First of all, you learn humility. That's the first thing you learn when you have somebody teaching. Humility. How to say thank you. How to get rid of your ego. Hey, Rudy used to shred my ego literally 5 days a week. He would shred my ego. And it was painful to let go of it because I used to live, it supported me, It was very painful, but I knew I had to get rid of it. And I was willing to go through the shredder. There was always that story of Milarepa, building 13 houses for Malta. What could have been left of his ego? Nothing, nothing. And I had a very similar kind of relationship with Rudy. I must have run away in my head at least 100 times. I said, what am I doing here? This is nuts. And I said, where are you going to go? Who's going to do this for you? Who in the world is going to do this for you? And right there is 80% of the battle. Breaking down the ego, one's image of who they are, their self-importance. And learning humility, learning how to serve in the world. Serve a higher force, serve people with gratitude that you can do this. So yes, we're born here to learn these things. And it takes time of working on oneself to truly master what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Melanie. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, you have a question, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a it kind of relates to what Larry was asking about. And in the past, I've heard you talk about the importance of working out your karma. And I guess I'm curious if you can maybe talk a little bit more about that, what that looks like, what that means. And it sounds like if it's,
I'll tell you what it looks like. It
is
looks
it
like,
more internal than external or a bit of both? Or yeah, I'd just love to hear more.
it's very simple, Brian. You have worked out your karma when you can keep your heart open, sustain love, sustain compassion, kindness, and live that way every day of your life. You will work out your karma. We are born here to transform, as I said earlier, all of the suffering, the problems, the tension, the chaos in ourselves into an open heart. Now, it's a process of, first of all, learning to build a system inside yourself that can do it. Developing a chakra system that's strong enough to sustain an open heart is a major life effort. But that's how you work out your karma. You become a child of God living in the world. Life itself becomes your teacher. Life itself is showing you every single day what you need to do to have gratitude, to stay open, to not succumb to the madness of the world. And that's how you work out your karma. God is love. God is love, And when we learn to truly live that way, that kind of openness, karma is worked out. You don't have to come back here anymore. Finish. No more reincarnation. You've learned the lesson of what is to be learned on the earth.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Brian. You're welcome. Does
So,
anyone else?
so Stuart, I have another question. So you said that you need a teacher. So what did you do after Rudy passed?
Oh, Rudy has been my teacher for, you know,
But you didn't sit with him, you know?
I know, but he taught me how to get strong enough to allow life to be my teacher. And I'm trying to, one day I'm not going to be here,
Right.
and I'm trying to teach you all the same thing. One day life becomes your teacher. And that is really why you're here, to learn this. Because one day, Rudy told me he was going to live to 84 years old. We hit that mountain in a plane when he was 45 years old. He was a young man. But he also, over and over again, told me the real guru is life. Learn what I have to teach. Learn what I have to teach. One day I won't be here. Learn what I have to teach. And then you will be able to sit with the real guru, which is life. So I'm saying the same thing. Learn what is being taught here. One day I'm not going to be here, you know? And if you learn it, master it, listen, you yourself will become a servant of higher energy and be able to pass this on to somebody else. Never think you're doing it, but having
Yeah.
put in the effort to build a system that is strong enough to live in a world and never think you're doing it. And yet it flows through you because, there's a pathway.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think the purpose of any teacher is not to be a guru, not to sit in some ivory tower, where everybody worshiping you and kissing your feet and all that kind of stuff. The purpose is to train people to do what I'm talking about. Build a chakra system, get stronger, arrive at a place where you can sit in front of life and recognize it as your teacher. There's working out karma. I mean, I've told you the story. I was sitting in Big Indian, the meditation room, and the Swami was talking about the Guru is God, the Guru is God, the Guru is God. Went on for an hour talking about that. And Rudy whispered in my ear, I'll never forget it. I talk about it all the time. It's an amazing, it changed my life when he said this. He said, Stuart, God is God. The best the Guru can be is the servant of God and the servant of his students. The humility was so profound that, I mean, it just went right through me. It became etched in stone inside me. The best I can be is a servant.
Yeah, thank you. I feel that.
You're welcome, Heidi. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, God bless you all. What a great session this was. And I learned a lot too, I think. Thank you and bless you all. And there'll be class tomorrow evening, 7:30, and the next class at 1 o'clock will be on Thursday. Have a wonderful day, and thank you and bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Stuart.